Story is electric shock gloves. Under pressure from the administration to make thousands of arrests per day, ICE agents could now be getting new equipment. The story is a record sale, the Lakers changing ownership. What's really behind the 12 is a miracle rescue. After a whisper saved a baby and father from rubble, the search is on for the mother in a collapsed building in Colombia. CNN's David Culver is there.
Live from Los Angeles, The Story Is with Elex Michaelson.
Our top story is the Trump administration's plan to equip federal immigration agents with gloves that deliver electrical shocks. A notice published Monday by the Department of Homeland Security says that ICE Immigration and Customs Enforcement plans to spend between $10 and $20 million to purchase the devices. It's unclear how many will actually be bought, how much each one would cost, and when officers would start using them. But they are expected to be delivered by the end of March next year. The manufacturer says that the gloves are intended to de-escalate encounters between agents and individuals. A video shared by the company in 2023 shows how the gloves work.
So if I was back here and I'm working with Wyatt and he started to struggle with me, I would say, Wyatt, Now, if you take a look at Wyatt, he's got no burn signatures, nothing happened to his skin. He's perfectly fine. But that fight ended in less than 3 seconds.
He looks perfectly fine, doesn't he? This comes as DHS has been under pressure to put more body cams on agents after several officer-involved shootings where agents were not wearing body cams. DHS and ICE are already under scrutiny over what critics say are aggressive and dangerous tactics, and the Trump administration is pressuring the agencies to make around 2,000 arrests per day. Meanwhile, we're learning more about a tense confrontation between ICE agents and a woman in Northern Virginia. On Monday, she shouted insults at the officers, and the situation escalated when one agent pointed a gun in her face. New dashcam footage from her car appears to conflict with the government's account of what happened. Katie Lusso with our affiliate WUSA reports.
Yeah, you recorded. You almost ran us over.
But Carolina Molina says that is not true.
Stop playing.
She denies trying to run anyone over, but also has proof, her dash cam. Molina says she's a licensed counselor who works with immigration lawyers.
In conducting psychological immigration evaluations.
It's why she was in Bailey's Crossroads Monday afternoon. When she saw ICE agents, she decided to let them know what she thinks of them.
You're a hoe. You're up.
She had shared similar thoughts with other agents a few blocks away.
You're right.
And decided it wasn't a good idea to go to the lawyer's office.
Sometimes they have clientele sitting in the lobby waiting to speak with the immigration lawyer.
But as she started to drive away, agents blocked her in.
Are you really?
Are you following us?
No, I'm not.
And pointed a gun in her face.
I will arrest you. Keep it up.
I'm a legal citizen.
Keep it up. I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
At first it was like, oh, you're following us. And then after that, it was like, oh, she tried to run you over. She tried to run us over.
She told them she had a dash cam, and after some back and forth, they got back in their cars and left.
I was looking down a barrel and he could have shot me, and he could have gotten away with it.
Do you regret yelling those things? Do you wish you maybe hadn't done that? Maybe wouldn't have ended in this situation? Or
no, I don't regret it. I feel like I know my laws. I am an American citizen. I have the right. I have my First Amendment rights. I can say what I want. And I don't feel like I should have a gun pointed to my head because you didn't like being called a hoe.
Let's bring in our panel. Midas Touch legal analyst Dina Dahl and host of the Death of Journalism podcast, John Ziegler. John, you visibly reacted as she was speaking. Your reaction to that?
I would like to know which part of this episode turned out poorly for this woman. She provoked it. She's fine. Thankfully, no one got hurt. She's now been interviewed on major media networks across the country. She is an immigration activist. She's made ICE look bad in a lot of media coverage. How did this turn out poorly for her? She could not have possibly asked for a better situation than what transpired, and she provoked this. You don't want to have a situation like this? Guess what? Don't provoke it. It's pretty simple.
The reaction.
I mean, this provocation, words are not provocation. Any criminal defense lawyer in the world can say you cannot have violent self-defense just because somebody said a word that may not be right. Nobody wants.
Where's the violence?
No, pointing a gun at somebody could be considered assault. No, in a court of law, that could be considered assault.
When law enforcement does it like that?
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, he's trying to say that words provoked it. You wouldn't even have that standard. That's not a standard of some sort of self-defense for use of a weapon, pointing it at somebody. The fact of the matter is this was not a win. Nobody should have a weapon drawn at them and pointed at them, especially somebody who's using that gun, the power of the federal government that we all gave that person is definitely being abused by pointing a weapon.
What do you think, Dina, of this news that ICE is now buying up gloves to shock people into submission?
If this was a good idea, police departments would do it. The fact of the matter is, well-run police departments know how to de-escalate a situation. They know how to be involved in the communities and understand communities to have a trust. The fact that DHS and ICE is doing this is they're trying to overcompensate for the fact that they have not trained their officers at all, as you can see by the fact that they're so provoked by words, they're drawing weapons at somebody. So you're actually just giving them more ability to harm people.
But don't police use tasers all the time? How is it different from that?
I mean, I don't know if they use it all the time. It is one of the tools at their disposal, but some sort of a use of this in order to de-escalate it when we know there are ways to de-escalate situations. The police departments, again, have used that all the time. And that video that showed somehow this person was not harmed, you have no idea underlying heart conditions that are involved. This can be very dangerous. And we've seen again and again, over 4,000 illegal arrests. Courts have determined 10,000 court cases have been thrown out by ICE. They are not doing their job well. They are capturing citizens. They are doing things illegally. And then on top of it, you're giving them another tool to harm somebody.
John.
Immigration enforcement is inherently messy, and the left has figured out that if they make it more difficult than it already is, like Dina just suggested, by not even allowing these gloves, which look pretty darn good in that promotional video, that they can make ICE look bad. This is a political battle. And because immigration enforcement is so messy, it's inherently going to be a political problem for Republicans. That's what the left wants. They want, this woman, the activist, wanted to provoke an incident to make ICE look bad. Not because she felt like she was in any real danger, but because she's against the issue of enforcement of illegal immigration. That's the heart of the matter here.
The left actually had a bipartisan immigration deal with Republicans. So it is not inherently messy. This could have been done well, but Trump wanted to run on it. And instead, his thing of somehow we need to capture illegals has morphed into we need to deport everybody who has the wrong color of skin and accent, because they are doing it with people who are here legally, not just people who are here
Who's been
undocumented.
deported that's here legally?
Who are pending asylum cases are sitting in detention centers right now.
Right, but they haven't been deported.
Well, they're awaiting deportation.
Yeah.
I mean, why should they be sitting in a prison when they are here legally? So they're not capturing just people who have no documentation.
Look, I think that this is a classic example of where we have lost sight of the goal. The goal is to have real immigration enforcement. People that are here legally, great. If you're here illegally and you're taking advantage of the system, you should be at least under the threat of potentially being deported. Without that threat, we don't have a real country, because we don't have actual borders, especially when we're living in effectively a welfare state. We can't pretend this is still 1919. The whole system has changed, and this is rational immigration reform that liberals want to make as difficult as possible.
But don't you think that sometimes ICE has gone way too far?
Yes,
I mean, the mass not putting stuff, rounding people up.
100%.
There have been a lot of people who have been targeted because of the color of their skin.
And the left understands the power of those pictures. This is difficult work. It's inherently messy, and the left is thrilled that it's so difficult to do.
We're not thrilled. People are suffering. This is not a win. There are people sitting in these prisons without humane conditions. The fact of the matter is, federal courts have said ICE has detained 10,000 people illegally. The ICE looks bad because ICE is doing bad.
Yeah.
We are doing nothing but speaking about what they are doing.
Want to get one other headline in. Speaking of all these talking points, the person from the White House podium who's been delivering a lot of these talking points this term is Caroline Leavitt, who announced that she is leaving. She just had a baby and a second baby. She's got 2 kids, I think under 2. And she posted this on X, quote, being a mother and working a new baby while working in one of the most demanding jobs in the world has been one of the most rewarding, challenging seasons of life. The truth is, since returning to the White House after the birth of my daughter, I felt in my heart that I cannot be the best mom my 2 young children deserve while devoted to the constant time, energy, and attention required to be White House press secretary. I know you probably disagree with what she says almost every day, but in terms of being effective at that job, is she one of the most effective White House press secretaries we've ever seen?
Yes, absolutely. And he's not going to find a better person. Because the fact is, she came in when Trump was kind of off of a win of 2024. His approval ratings are in a disaster right now. He's not going to get somebody of her talent. The fact is, she does lie every day for him, but she does it in a convincing way. And the next person is just, he's not going to be able to retain that kind of talent again.
I think her legacy is that she did an amazing job because her job was to please one person and one person only. And his name was Donald Trump. And she understood that every single day. And she succeeded every single day. As far as her leaving, I totally respect as a mom wanting to spend as much time with her children as possible, but I'm a little bit confused. She's married. He's basically retirement age. Why can't he help with the kids? Maybe she thinks that he's going to be in a nursing home soon or something.
Oh, well, that's not. I mean, she has an older husband. But the point is, a lot of people say that as an excuse, but it seems like, I mean, when you've got 2 kids like that, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work.
Maybe she didn't like being a decoy on the Air Force One. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we have no idea why she decided to leave.
Okay. Dina, John, we know that you guys are not leaving. You're going to be back with us in the next hour to talk about, among other things, the wealth tax that may be coming to California. That'll be interesting to discuss when we see you the next hour. But we want to get some other news now. Less than 24 hours ago, our big news was the Wisconsin primary. We had special coverage for 3 hours. We didn't know who won even when we signed off. Well, the person who won was David Crowley, who secured the Democratic nomination for the Wisconsin governor's race. He's already calling for unity among his party. It's being hailed as a win for the establishment Democrats. Crowley had dropped out of this race last month, and then, when he saw an opening, jumped back in after another prominent candidate left. He ended up defeating, speaking of left, Democratic socialist Francesca Hong, as some critics question whether she could beat a Republican opponent to become the next governor. Her defeat comes as a blow to the progressive movement just 1 week after a notable win by Abdul El Sayed in Michigan. Crowley telling CNN's Caitlin Collins tonight he wants to bring together all Democrats.
I think when it comes down to being progressive, it's about the actions that you take. How do you pass policies and implement laws that actually has a positive impact on the communities that you represent? And I think that a lot of people have tried to focus on the progressives versus the establishment, or insiders versus outsiders. All I know is that not enough people have had a seat at the table. And I was told that if you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu. And when I think about our political spectrum, there are a lot of people who don't feel they have a political home. And that's why I wanted to get into this race, to bring as many people up under the Democratic tent as much as possible.
Republican Congressman Max Miller, who has been accused of abuse, is now facing a new federal lawsuit. He's being sued by his own ex-wife, Emily Moreno, over the release of a sensitive photo of their 2-year-old daughter. Miller and his attorney are accused of recklessly publishing the image and documents shared online. The attorney insists it was an accident, says the photo was quickly taken down. Moreno is seeking $150,000 in damages for each time the photo was downloaded. She had previously accused the Ohio congressman of domestic abuse, which Miller denies. He has rejected demands that he drop out of his race for re-election. The Intercept and the Freedom of Press Foundation are suing President Trump and his social media team. They claim that he is violating the First and Fifth Amendments to the Constitution by charging for instant access to his Truth Social posts. president frequently uses the platform to announce policy decisions and executive orders. An attorney for the plaintiff says the president's official statements are not the private data of a company, but are owned by the United States under the Presidential Records Act. The White House did not respond to a request for comment. We're learning more now about President Trump's secret presidential plane switch last month in Turkey after a potential Iranian threat against him. Dina just mentioned this. Specifically, according to a source, the threat to Air Force One by a shoulder-fired missile. Now the Washington Post is reporting new details about that intel.
The Washington Post will be reporting very shortly that the threat stream that raised all these concerns and prompted these extraordinary actions came from information shared from Israel. The CIA had low confidence in that information, but given the threat, given the seriousness of the issue, given the long-running concerns about Iran's interest in going after the president, they put all of this in motion.
According to a source, when the president secretly moved off of Air Force One via a catering container and onto a military aircraft, he was joined by several close personal aides that included Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and his executive assistant, Natalie Harp. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Stephen Miller were among those aboard Air Force One, as well as the traveling White House press corps. Colombia's president says the death toll from Monday's earthquake has risen to at least 265. International teams are lending their assistance, much like they do when two deadly quakes hit Venezuela back in June. But one political scientist says Colombia's government transition is making aid deliveries challenging. Remember, the new president took office last Friday, the earthquake hitting 2 days later. Thousands were injured in Monday's 7.4 magnitude quake, and hundreds more remain missing 3 days later. CNN's David Culver is in Cali, Colombia, with more on the rescue efforts.
We're headed now to a southern part of Cali, where we're told there are active rescues underway, including just a few hours ago where someone was pulled out alive. You can hear people still right now. Well, they won't. Let's have. Okay, he said you can still hear people, so let's go see. Just handed us masks. They said please put these on because they're worried about asbestos and anything else is in the air, that we're also seeing some of this dust.
We've been told what we're looking at here was an apartment building that was about 4 stories high. You can see the rooftop pool, the blue tiles over there, now about 1.5 stories up in the air. So it has totally pancaked down, collapsing into the basement of this apartment complex.
Looking into the collapsed rubble, Harold Valencia recognizes something.
You can see your dad's mattress.
Exactly, which is that one that he's showing right now.
Right there. Have you heard anything? Is there any movement or anything?
I've been here for 2 days and we don't hear any future there.
Harold flew in Tuesday from his home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and he isn't the only one here doubling as a first responder.
And how old are the two people still missing, roughly?
Late teens.
Teenagers?
Teens, yes.
And a brother and sister?
Yep.
How do you even process this moment?
There's no way to process it. Like, you don't process it. You just hear dealing. Like, if you're at home, maybe you may have to find some way to cope with it. Like, there's no time to process this type of stuff. Like, you have to be here helping. Otherwise, there's nothing else to do.
Here in Cali, Colombia's third largest city, with a population roughly the size of Houston, Texas, even folks working at hotels, or taxi drivers even, are splitting their day between their actual work and helping with rescues. Motivated by scenes like this, a man handing off a baby boy from within the rubble, dust covered and struggling to breathe, but he's alive.
Se llega a ver la cabecita del bebé, sí, un pedazo de la.
You saw the baby's little head. He's not a first responder. He works in a bank, and he was just around the corner and rushed down this street where the collapse and rescue is still underway for several others. And he says he goes there and he hears, escuchaste la voz, ¿no? del hombre. ¿Qué dice la voz? What did the voice say?
Cuando yo le digo, hola, sí, estoy aquí, estoy con un bebé.
The voice says, I'm here with a baby.
Brian and several others immediately go in. Over the course of 3 to 5 minutes, they're able to pull the baby out. ¿Y cómo está el bebé en este momento? How's the baby right now?
Según lo que me he dado cuenta, el bebé está estable en estos momentos.
Stable
igual que el
condition
papá,
right now,
sí.
as well as the dad.
La última información que recibí fue que estaba desaparecida la mamá.
The only thing is that the mom is still missing. More than 130 miles north, we watched on for hours as this close-knit community dragged huge slabs of concrete from this collapsed apartment in Pereira. All of these folks are volunteers. Late in the evening, their hands reached a 32-year-old woman clinging to life. Her stepmother held vigil there for more than 24 hours. She tells us her daughter suffered heart failure and shattered nearly every bone imaginable, but says she's hopeful she'll make it. From that same wreckage, someone's beloved pet also pulled out alive. Back here in Cali, this moment, reality briefly surfaces for Harold.
Trying to get my dad one way or the other. That's it.
You could tell in that moment Harold started to allow almost the reality of what he was looking at, the potential aftermath, to soak in, and he had to push it away, almost compartmentalize a bit so that he could then focus that and get back to work. And looking at him from afar, when we first were pointed his direction, we assumed he was part of first responders or a work crew. I mean, he was directing traffic and having essentially some of the workers follow some of his orders so as to remove some of the large slabs of concrete. Then it turns out that he, like so many we've met here, have just flown in and are not part of the experienced teams so much as are just here looking for loved ones. He and many others have said, if you want to do it, you have to do it yourself sometimes, and they're doing just that. David Cole for CNN, Cali, Colombia.
Thanks to David, we're thinking of all those folks. For the LA Lakers, it is the end of a very brief era. After just 1 year, team's about to get some very famous new owners. The backstory of why is quite something. The Athletics Lakers beat writer here live next. Plus, the Massachusetts mother who killed her children breaks down in tears in court. Our legal expert here live to talk about what all that means for the trial of Lindsay Clancy.